All right, we got another video here on the YouTube channel, finally. And I am excited to get this thing started because I sort of have this like new fire of sort of YouTube / content ideas. I think a lot of us artists, especially on YouTube, kind of struggle with coming up with ideas for like YouTube videos and stuff like that. Because me personally, I don't really want to come from a position of like kind of teaching people how to make art. And so I've been kind of struggling with that idea. But what I realize and what my goal is to really just show up and be like authentically me in my content, because that is ultimately what people want to see as, you know, me being an artist. It's not just about the art, it's about the person making the art. And that was like one of the big realizations that I had this year. I had 2 exhibitions, and most recently it was 2 weeks ago. Oh wait, was that last week? There was a local gallery that I got into. I got 2 pieces into a local gallery in Severna Park, Maryland. And both of those exhibitions, because I had a solo exhibition earlier this year in March. And I had to like sort of shift my mindset around what came out of that, because I think going into your pursuit of making art in a business sense is like it gets tricky, because a lot of artists like really have a hard time talking about money, because if you're an artist trying to make a business, then you have to talk about money, but money can be a weird topic of talking about, especially with something as subjective as art. Anyway, I might have to make a separate video. I'm planning for this video to be me jumping back into content, and what would it be a better topic than to show y'all the studio. So this year I actually switched from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom apartment. I have one of my friends chilling with me as a roommate. It's been pretty good. I've got a lot of space in this new apartment as well. I'm luckily able to take up a lot of space compared to what my current roommate wants. And I'm really grateful that he's like, yeah, you're an artist, go ahead, use your space. You have your own studio now. I'm like, yes, I appreciate that. In this video, I just kind of want to show you guys what the space is looking like, and how I'm, managing in this space. So that requires me to take this camera off the tripod. I obviously start with like the sort of like living room space to sort of give you an idea of like what my space is looking like. So this is sort of like just like my living room area. And you can see that I've got the place decorated for the season. That's something I've picked up from my mom. I sort of have this habit of decorating. I got these like little pumpkins over here. I got my leaves. And I've got some leaves over in the studio area as well. But yeah, this area is just a nice chill place. My couch sucks, but it's a cheap one that I got with my first apartment. I hate it. My roommate hates it, but I don't have the money to replace it quite yet. Soon I will though. But yeah, here is the actual studio space. I've got 2 stools here. That's the one I was sitting in. I've got a second one right here. Usually I just use it as like a place to sit things on. And I've actually got some blank canvases here hanging where I usually put finished art, but I have a bunch of blank canvases to sort of motivate me to make more art. That's another problem that I've had recently. I really haven't had the motivation to like complete a bunch of paintings. I'll just like sort of focus on one, drop it for like 2 weeks, and then I'll be like, I should probably finish that painting. But one of the things I'm going to be trying is to paint faster, paint more, and hopefully that'll show up in the content as well, because if I've got more paintings that I'm doing, that means more recordings, and that means more YouTube videos. As I said before, I've got these stools here, and I've got a little art cart right here. The items that go on this art cart have switched many times before. It's sort of just like this shelf that I have that's movable. So I've got a bunch of random crap here. I've got some paintings here. Got this white flowers and then my pink roses. Oh geez. Should put those in a better location. I've got this little trash can here specifically for art trash and bills apparently. I've got some binders of old art stuff. I think I have some like notes about my comic in there. This is my my palette. What is this called? Palette seal. Made a video about this thing a few years ago, I think. It really helps me preserve my paints while I procrastinate on finishing them. So love this thing. And like I said before, I've got these, I think I said it in the previous clip, but I've got these blank canvases on the shelf here. Oh, let me actually talk about the shelf. I've got these grid panel walls paired with these hooks that I use to display my paintings in here. I actually originally got them for these art fairs or craft shows that I've been attending. Well, I attended them last year, but this year I actually decided not to attend those because personal reasons. The shows themselves were actually really great, but yeah, I was working out myself and my business and I just didn't have the time or the investment energy for it. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I need to breathe. But yeah, got these grid walls. I actually really love like the aesthetic of the grid walls opposed to like, I don't know, just hanging them on the walls. I've got these rolls of canvas that eventually I will use. Right now I've been using like little slivers of them to patch some old paintings that had a few damages to them. But I actually want to eventually start building my own canvases instead of ordering them off of like Amazon and Michaels. Although I love Michaels. Sponsor me, please. Over here is my little art, what would you call this? A trolley? I'm gonna call it my art trolley. Got a few of these paintings in here. I actually have a second art trolley in my bedroom that I use to store like paintings that I just like don't want to see / storage. I really love this painting right here. I actually think I might make a separate video because something that I realized about my art making process that will probably show up more in future paintings is that this was like came from an authentic version of me. And I think it requires explanation. And so I think I might dedicate a video to specifically the thought process of me starting that painting and why I find it so important to me. I've got over here some art prints that I had made. I sold a lot of those at the craft fairs last year. I really should have tried selling them again this year, but anyway. Got another grid wall right here with 2 other blank canvases. Again, those are there to motivate me to actually start on the next painting. And I've got these easels right here, this blank easel, and then this like sort of standing easel right here. So yeah, that's a little walkthrough. Oh yeah, and this tiny, is that a bug? No, it's just dust. I've got this little art shelf thing right here as well. This one is really good at holding my smaller pieces. Got this like little hole behind this grid wall right here. You can see there, my door right there. Got that little sign on the door. It says Harvest Blessings. And on this little shelf here, I've got some like art materials and stuff too. In my light for when I want to set the vibe. Actually, should I set the vibe right now? I'll do that later. Too much energy cost. So yeah, that is the little studio area. Hope you enjoyed the tour of the place. Oh my gosh. It's kind of weird to think that like, I'm just like filming myself here in my studio, but like potentially like hundreds of people could be like watching me in my studio. I don't know. Is that too deep? Am I going too deep? I feel like I go too deep all the time, but maybe I need to go too deep because that is what makes me me. Anyway, back to the next clip. So let me show you my little desk a desktop area with my computer, because that is where the editing happens. Just right behind this living room area, I've got actually my table that I sometimes move over to my studio space, and then I've got my really organized mess of a desk right here. It looks horrible, but my mind finds the clutter to be like comfortable. It's like the difference between a house and a home. I don't know if that analogy makes sense. I might just be justifying my own messiness. But yeah, this is pretty much the space that I'm working with today in this year, with a nice little studio apartment, or apartment in a studio in my apartment. It's not a studio apartment. It's an art studio in my apartment, you know? You get it. Like I said a little bit earlier, I've been kind of figuring myself out in regards to the type of content that I want to make going forward. And I even struggled a little bit starting this video for some reason. Yeah, I just get in my head a lot. I've got a lot of mental tangles in my head. But this year I've actually been going to a therapist to sort of like untangle the mess that my brain usually is. And I'm getting to know myself a lot more. And I think that really helps me show up as an artist, because what people enjoy most is when an artist authentically shows up as themselves. And I've always wanted to be that kind of artist, but I always had like these little insecurities that were like deep rooted within like my personality. And like it like sort of paralyzed me within like almost every aspect of my life. And so this year has been my year of seclusion in order for me to figure out myself more. And I think that it's gonna show up in hopefully all areas of my life, but especially in my art, because I really want to authentically show up in the way I operate my art as a business, and even the art itself that I make. I always had this sort of fear of like just painting or making art for art's sake and like it being like really shallow. And I didn't really have that thing that I knew I needed in order for me to go deeper into the artworks that I make. But I believe I finally found that. And I think that I'm gonna probably make another video talking about that topic as well. Something semi-recently that I found out about myself was that I have this sort of mental condition called, have y'all heard of aphantasia or aphantasia? I have the opposite. I was very curious when I first heard of the term aphantasia. But there's like another inverse of that called hyperphantasia. I think I'm gonna make a video about that because it's a whole thing. So I think I will make a video about that. But if you're curious, look up hyperphantasia, and especially it correlating with artists, because that, once you know what hyperphantasia is, you can probably understand my perspective of art. And I don't know, I'll probably go into that in the next YouTube video. So look out for that in the coming future. And I think I'm going to end this little studio vlog right here. Thanks for coming into the studio, and I'll see you in the next one.